This video is going to be a slight departure from the typical content you'll find on my channel where I cover Ravens and Lions film and do film studies post-game and try to do previews for the upcoming opponent. This is instead going to be a focus on one of my favorite offensive concepts that I've ever seen or had to defend or worry about defending. Good old school trap, where you're trying to kick out a tough D tackle with a pulling guard. Now, this first play is going to be a slight departure from that iteration. But the trap concept in general is a spectacular way to get a running back downhill to the second level with other linemen free releasing up to get in linebacker and nickel defenders' faces quick, force those guys to have to deal with an offensive lineman, a skilled, large human being, and a running back running downhill at the same time. I'm going to go over 3 different versions of trap that are, I think, timeless. And my proof of that is they seem to be used a whole lot more in the NFL in 2023 than I remember before. I have saved a significant amount of offensive film from the NFL all across the league, but most typically Ravens and to a lesser extent Lions in the last 3 years. And I've seen it more often in 2023 than ever before, at least to my eyes. Now, having said that, the gurus of trap in the NFL, if you ask me, is Ben Johnson and the Detroit Lions. They were running it a lot last year. Perhaps that's why the usage has kind of opened up some. But even in their case, their usage is vastly different situationally. Ben Johnson will call it on 3rd and 6. He even calls it on a 4th and 5 at the end of this video against the Los Angeles Chargers. So from that standpoint, the Lions' usage of trap concepts is, I would say, dramatically different from 95 to 98% of the rest of the football playing world is not calling trap on 3rd and 6 or 3rd and 8. Under center is the original iteration of it in most offenses, but particularly the wing T. It hits fast, and the running back is downhill quick. Inside linebackers, like I said earlier, generally are going to have a lineman in their face to deal with, and a running back downhill. Very difficult concept defensively. In this case, it's a slight departure, like I said, from what you'll normally see, because this is a fullback, Pat Ricard, kicking out the D tackle. What you will see mostly in this video is a guard pulling and kicking out the D tackle. Additionally, this is a 1 technique. Normally, you're going to be talking about a 3 technique or a 4-eye that's being kicked out through the course of the video, and so hopefully my explanations can help you understand those numerical designations if you don't already. All right, so we talked about that one under center. This is week 1, Kansas City Chiefs. There's one thing, quote, wrong here. I'm not saying the Chiefs are doing this wrong. It's where they're running the play. Notice the ball is on the left hash for the offense. That means the nickel defender, Brian Branch, is to the field. They're trying to run this trap back to the 3-man surface to the field. There's nobody to block Brian Branch except for Kadarius Toney, who, as you see this play flow through one more time, he's lined up tight. That's the reason why he's lined up tight. So that as Sky Moore motions through, Toney will be able to get to Branch. Well, the Lions just fold Branch inside, essentially creating a 4-3 structure with Branch now becoming an inside linebacker. Tackle to the play side is going to get up to the inside linebacker, Jack Campbell, who does the best job out of any player I've seen in this video. I'll show you in this video of stuffing a tackle's block as close to the line of scrimmage as he can. It's about 2.5 to 2.7 yards beyond the line of scrimmage. Campbell just has to sacrifice himself, meaning you're not going to run around this and make the tackle. You're not going to go low and knock him down. You're going to have to stuff a 335-pound tackle, free releasing up to you with all the force you can, and you can see Campbell holds his ground pretty good until he's able to be taken over by the mass of humanity. But additionally, this is the D tackle being trapped. He's in a 3 technique. The guard from the other side is trapping him, kicking him out. So trying to open and expand that hole. You can see that the D tackle basically falls down because it's a very rarely used play prior to 2022, if you ask me. I didn't have a ton of trap plays. Certainly didn't have any from the Ravens in the last couple of years. I think I had 1, and that was 2022 week 1 against the New York Jets. One more time, let you see it go through. And to compare the way Campbell was able to play this to what you see from other inside linebackers in the video who are a little bit more, I don't want to say passive, but they're not coming downhill as much. And additionally, Branch, who's just proven himself to be a brilliant player all year. All right, this is pretty much the same formation, except there's no motion. The Chiefs were in 11 personnel, so are the Lions here. The Chiefs motioned one of the receivers, Sky Moore, across because they were on the left hash. The nickel defender, Brian Branch, folded inside pre-snap to about that location right there. But what you notice here is the ball's on the right hash, so the nickel defender is on the opposite side. Another example of Ben Johnson not just being the guru of trap, but being one of the kings of attacking to the boundary often. This is a 1st and 10, it's 11 personnel. Couple of things. Most iterations of trap, and the ones you're going to see in this video, is run to a 3-man surface. 3-man surface means guard, tackle, tight end. You're not going to see any of them in this video run to a 2-man surface where you have guard, tackle, and that's it. It doesn't mean you can't run it over there. It just means it's a slightly different play call. Ben Johnson, in my opinion, has probably got a look here that he knew what he was going to get earlier in the game, and he had a play concept, trap, typical trap, to exploit it. Same play, end zone angle, and this is the D tackle that's going to be trapped. Sewell is going to be able to work right up to the linebacker level. Laporta is going to deal with Max Crosby. Left tackle is going to pull and try to kick out that D tackle right there. Left guard, excuse me, is going to pull, try to kick him out. That D tackle pretty much falls down. Watch the swim by 75. Quick to get up to Robert Spillane. I believe it's offsetting penalties on Spillane and 75. You got a hold on 75, and you've got some type of horse collar, hair grab, whatever. I'm not sure by Robert Spillane. They were offsetting. Lions got the football right back on the next play and ran downhill again. Think of Branch where he was on the previous play, though. And look where this ball was run. So when you're talking about play calls and why teams run plays to certain areas, this is why Ben Johnson runs certain plays to the boundary. He knows the nickel defender's not going to be there. 13-yard gain downhill gives you some immediate reason or feedback as to why Ben Johnson and certain guys like to call plays to the boundary. Another trap concept, Chargers against the Jets. Ball's on the right hash. Where's the nickel defender here? 3-man surface here. You already know where the trap's going to be run, to the downside of our screen, otherwise known as the boundary. Basically creating a 5-on-4 or 4-on-3 in that tight space. Now this is a little bit different. This is an influence trap. So they are going to trap this D tackle right here, but additionally, this guard is going to pull out to go kick out the defensive end to that side. So you're getting basically 2 traps on the same play. The D tackle being trapped, and I'll show you an end zone angle of an influence trap in a minute, and then the defensive end being trapped. Look at the 2 free releases by the tight end and the tackle, getting up to the front side inside linebacker and the corner, and you got Kelly running downhill for 12 yards. Again, it's away from the nickel. It's to a 3-man surface. They're also getting motion that's pulling the backside inside linebacker, which I think is Mosley, pulling him away from the point of attack. So you're really isolating these guys to the boundary. Mosley has widened up with this motion that theoretically Herbert could throw the ball over there too. If they get a 3-on-2, if Mosley doesn't widen up, get a 3-on-2, basically with the third defender potentially for the Jets being 13 yards off away from the line of scrimmage. So a clear advantage numbers-wise for the Chargers. Tells you how teams are able to create numbers to the field and the boundary at the same time by merging a run play trap or influence trap with a potential screen to the field on the other side of the formation. Here's a beautiful example of how to defeat it. Influence trap. Again, they're trapping Matabike here, 92. This guard's going to pull and kick out. But simultaneous to that, the right guard is going to pull and kick out or attempt to kick out Kyle Van Noy. What they're doing is they're preying on the trained technique that Justin Matabike consistently exhibits. By the guard, his key, 65, pulling out, Matabike is going to step out. Well, then all that does is just widen the gap up even further, hence the name influence trap. However, for the Bengals, this is unfortunate because what happens is Queen sees it and is going to stab back inside here and get underneath of the right tackle who's assigned to go get him. Matabike is also doing a great job of getting that left hand up near his neck and chest to impede his ability to go get Patrick Queen, and you've got a tackle for loss. Tight end is releasing up to the safety. What you notice is tight end into the boundary, 3-man surface, running back to the other side, trying to give you some of the indicators that the play might be coming. And you see there's a wide variety of teams using this concept. To my knowledge, I was not aware this many teams ran trap in the NFL prior to 2023. I noticed it a lot with Ben Johnson and the Lions last year. If you know of more teams that utilized it prior to 2023, feel free to let me know in the comments section. I had not developed a whole lot of film prior to this year with trap plays illustrated, at least. Let's put it that way. All right, a slightly different version of influence. This is wham trap. You're normally going to get a tight end or fullback. In this case, the tight end and the running back happen to be on the same side, but it's a three-man surface: guard, tackle, tight end. They're going to trap 95, but they're not trapping him with a guard. They're not pulling a guard to do it. Wham trap means he's going to block down on that D tackle, and the other offensive linemen are going to be able to free release up to the second level. Laporta, a rookie, blocking down. Look at the gap that's created by this. No awareness whatsoever that play could be coming, obviously. And Gibbs has a huge lane. He was pissed at himself for not scoring on this one. Devastating example, if you ask me, of wham trap. Where's it being run? To the field. You do have, to me, what looks like the nickel defender over here to the boundary. The ball's right on the right hash. So it's, even though it's being run to the field, it's being run away from the nickel defender. That's inside linebacker, corner, safety. And the way the Lions are going to block it here is they're going to leave the corner unblocked. Two offensive linemen release right up to linebacker level. Gibbs is downhill because Laporta has taken out the D tackle completely. And you get, I think, an 8-yard gain downhill. Gibbs thinks he should have scored. A little bit of a delayed nature to it, but it works perfectly because you're basically trapping this D tackle with Laporta, this D tackle getting trapped here, and then you have basically a fold block between the right tackle, right guard. Right tackle working up, right guard going over here to kick out this defense. Some people will call it a triple trap. A really great content creator for the Ravens, E.A. Edgar Allen. He calls it triple trap. Forgive me, my screen seemed to jig for a second there. Last look at it just so you can see the big old hole open up. Some people like to line up their defensive linemen head up, 2 technique, 4 technique, 6. That would be a 0 here. A 2 would be head up on a guard. A 4 would be head up there. 6, some people call it an 8, some people call it a 7 for whatever reason. But in any case, you don't see that a whole lot in the NFL. You're going to see odd techniques. In my opinion, sets you up well, angles-wise, for the trap. This is another wham trap play. Pat Ricard is to our left-hand side of the screen, the right-hand side of the Ravens offense. He's a fullback, 20 personnel, 11 personnel, whatever you want to call it. He's going to wham trap block on the front side D tackle. The play is quick hitting because it's out of the pistol. Gus is getting downhill. Also, the 2 most athletic linemen for the Ravens, Tyler Linderbaum, Ronnie Stanley, they're both leading up to the linebacker level, giving that there's no way for those guys to deal with a lineman, cutting them off, and the downhill nature of the play. You can see Gus runs right by him. No fault of the linebackers at all. That's one of the things that happens if you play an odd technique and you don't touch anybody, meaning you don't touch any of the offensive linemen at all. You just get free releases everywhere. In the NFL, that's kind of the way to do things, though. You want to get upfield, you want to penetrate, and deter quarterbacks from having a lot of time, especially if it's a pass play. So it's a give or take, and it seems like now NFL offensive coordinators are kind of adjusting a little bit and taking with this trap concept. Here's wham trap, but it's to the nickel side. So ball is on the right hash for the Cardinals. 11 personnel. Kind of the pseudo bunch trips, whatever. The nickel defenders to the field. So watch what happens. I'm not saying you can't run it to the nickel side, but both of the times that I've shown it to you, the nickel folds inside that makes the tackle. The second play I showed you was Brian Branch against the Chiefs in week 1. This one, out of 11 personnel, watch Jamal Adams fold inside what basically becomes B-gap. He's to the point of attack. Still a 3 or 4 yard gain, but it doesn't have that punishing downhill nature to it or aspect to it. So two of the times, that we've seen it stopped, Brian Branch on the tackle, Jamal Adams on the tackle, was to the field out of 11 personnel with the nickel. The other time was Patrick Queen just making a brilliant play to jump inside A-gap. Note that, again, it's to a 3-man surface. Even though it's to the field, you got tight end, tackle, guard, and the tight end is wham trapping down on this D tackle right here. You've actually seen this one earlier, but now you'll understand, hopefully, that it's different on two levels. They're not trapping a 3 technique. They're trapping an A-gap defender, 2I, 1, whatever you want to call him, and they're trapping him with Pat Ricard. They're not pulling the guard to do so. I illustrated it the first time I showed you the play, but here it is again. Hopefully, I have done a decent enough job of explaining it to you so you can see how this one's a little bit more anomalous than some of the other ones. A, because it's under center. B, because they're trapping an A-gap D-tackle, and then I guess C, because it's Pat Ricard, the fullback, who's doing the kick-out block and not a wham down block on what would be the front side D-tackle here. He's trapping the backside D-tackle away from the point of attack because Gus is getting downhill to the offense's right, and that D-tackle lined up to the offense's left. Hopefully I said that in a way that makes sense. The Dolphins, 2022, have a little bit of trouble here with this penetrating D-tackle. He's going to be the trap man. The fullback, I believe, is supposed to go get that defensive end. He cannot because of so much penetration by the D-tackle. That D-end folds inside to make the tackle. Let it run through a couple of times and replay for you. When you get the end zone angle, you'll see this D-end is going to be unblocked. He's going to fold inside to make the tackle. Why does that happen? Because this D-tackle is getting upfield so heavy, the center tries to get his head. Well, he doesn't actually try to get his head in front. And then the fullback is going to basically run into those two, creating a mess, leaving that defensive end unblocked. Additionally, it, quote, looks like a read option somewhat. So they're trying to make that D-end freeze or hold for a minute so that the fullback can get to him and kick him out. Huge mess created by number 90. You can see here. And even though the trap block is occurring and you have players to get up to linebacker level, you got a D-end on the backside, totally unblocked, 56, folds inside to make the tackle for a short gain. All right, the gurus of trap in the NFL, the Lions, this is proof of it if you ask me. 4th and 5, week 10. 11 personnel, twin slot A. You'll notice where this play is run to. They did get the first down, by the way. You'll notice where this play is run to the boundary. Ball's on the right hash, tight end, there's your 3-man surface. 2 receivers down here, nickel defender aligned to the field. Typical. Running back opposite the tight end, there's your trap block, but you're going to notice something different about that D-tackle. He's trapping the trapper. He's getting inside of the trap block. So what that does is it forces, it's a huge play call. It's a really, you got cojones if you call this on 4th and 5 in the NFL, or 4th and 5 anyway, for real. Ben Johnson does not care. But it's an even better read by Montgomery. And you'll see it really well if you and the effort, obviously, as well. You'll see it from the end zone angle, I think. This D-tackle, 56, is going to trap the trapper. So the trapper is the left guard. Pull, kick out, expand this D-tackle. Not as wide as I'm drawing these arrows. I'm just drawing it for illustration for you guys, trying to expand that D-tackle. So what's this D-tackle do? I don't even know his name, but he plays it very well. He traps the trapper. He gets inside of the trap block. Well, David Montgomery just says, all right, I'll just bounce it. Bounces it outside on trap. You're not supposed to bounce trap, but sometimes you got to when it's wrong-armed like that. And since Laporta is dealing with the defensive end, outside linebacker Mack, then number 3, who's assigned to guard Laporta man-to-man, is now released, absolved of covering him man-to-man because he sees him blocking. He's going to fold inside. Unfortunately, Derwin James and the safety to the boundary are unable to prevent Montgomery from getting there. You get some push from the rest of his teammates. Cool play, if you ask me. Trap is always one of the plays that we used to look at in scouting, and if someone didn't run trap, we kind of knew that there were certain things we didn't have to deal with this week, number 1. And number 2, we understood that there was a certain amount of time we did not have to spend on that concept. You would still keep it in your rotation of drills, but instead of stressing it 30 to 40% of the time, you would stress it 10 to 15% of the time or less because you knew you weren't going to see it that week. That's my look at the old school trap concept that certain coaches seem to have brought back, at least in 2023. You guys let me know what you think of the video. My attempt to cover a concept, in this case a run concept. Tried to do a pass concept on Wednesday, one of my favorite pass concepts from the NFL. If you appreciated this one or you enjoyed it, please let me know in the comment section. If you think other football fans in general would enjoy this content, this film study look at the trap concept and its usage in the NFL in 2023, then please consider grabbing a link to this video, sharing it out on social media to help this content get more reach.